These three things help my clients that are multi-millionaires come back consistently over and over and over again. My name is Sam Coleman, team leader of the Sam Coleman Luxury Group. I'm the top 10 luxury real estate agent here in Las Vegas, and I'm also number 78 of all agents in Las Vegas. That's 18,000 of them. If you want to learn how I've built a successful luxury real estate business, and most importantly, help other people do it, go to TheSamColeman.com and add me on all social media at TheSamColeman. So the first thing that you want to do to retain clients and consistently add value to them is make personalization a priority. What I mean by that is, when I'm preparing for a listing appointment, we send a bundt cake. There's this company here called Nothing Bundt Cake, and as we're preparing, we have our documents, all the good stuff. But the first thing that we do after that listing appointment is start preparing for that personalization. We write a handwritten note. Whether you do business with us today, tomorrow, or 10 years from now, we wish you nothing but the best. It's something so small and so subtle, and then we have a third party go drop it off, whether it's an assistant, another team member, but somebody that creates a degree of separation to go drop that Nothing Bundt Cake off. Then we're going to send a handwritten note that's personalized specific to that client based on a conversation that we may have had. For example, one of my clients, they had a college teenager, a teenager that was getting ready to go to college, and they were playing volleyball and they just tore their ACL. So in that handwritten note, we mentioned their daughter playing volleyball, wishing them, giving them well wishes for their ACL and things to come, just reminding them that I remember what we talked about in that conversation. I'm going to put that in a handwritten note. The next thing we're going to do is bring a pie or a bottle of wine. We drop these things off based on the client. We kind of feel it out, and sometimes we have to guess, and we typically get it right. You can't really go wrong with the Dutch apple pie, but you can't really go wrong with a nice classic bottle of wine. For us, we do Brunello's, and not everybody's a wine drinker. And yes, I know what you're thinking. What if they have diabetes? Yes, it's a real thing. You may not hit it on the nail every time for all my pessimistic people, but we want to do something that's specific, that literally just makes it seem like they took time to think about us. And we want to make sure it's so personalized. The last thing that we do is client appreciation events. When we send out client appreciation invites, it's specific. We use their name, their handwritten, and there's something so nice about not just receiving a handwritten note card, but having something addressed to you that's personalized. And let's say, for example, one of my clients, they love the Golden Knights. So we send them a Golden Knights jersey. I have people that are fans of the Green Bay Packers, or we may send them a gift with the Green Bay Packers jersey, whatever the case may be that's specific to them. We do these things just so that they can separate us from all the noise, all the competition. Lastly, when a person buys a home with us, we don't give them a closing gift on the day of closing. That's the last thing that you want to do. The frenzy and the excitement of moving, signing documents, transferring large sums of money, having movers, the house is in disarray, they're making adjustments and furniture's coming, and then you want to give them a gift basket that's just going to get tossed in the laundry room or in the closet with all the stuff, right? We want to do a 30-day check-in. After they move in, we want them to be sitting on their couch and they hear that doorbell ring, and then we have a personalized basket that's coming to them, not just a gift basket that's wicker or rattan. We're going to get something really nice. Sometimes it's iron, sometimes it's something that comes from one of their favorite stores, something like that, but we want it specific to that client. And with the contents of that basket all depend on that particular person. So 30 days after they close, they probably think, man, my realtor didn't even give me anything for closing. It was just kind of like they got their commission and left, and then bam, we surprised them 30 days after closing, and we give them a gift. And it's so unexpected. Sometimes it's us personally dropping it off, but more times than not, it's a third party like one of our assistants or admins or somebody from the team that may be working in the area. And when they get it, they're always super excited, and it is so unexpected. Then we get that message, Sam, thank you so much for taking the time to think about it. The transaction was awesome. Then we ask for a review if they haven't done that review already. And when they're doing it in that moment, they're excited, they're happy. If there was a hiccup in the transaction or there was a delay, it's not even a concern. And then they go write us a generous review, or they just send that message, like I said, or email thanking us for our service and our time and letting us know that we're top notch. And they're more than happy to do a survey as well, where they say, hey, this part of the process was awesome to me. I would totally recommend. These are the people that I know and that I've recommended them to. It's so awesome to receive this type of gift from such an incredible company. That's what we do as far as personalization. Secondly, effective communication. This is the most important when you're dealing with affluent clients. Luxury people affluent people, they just don't have the time. They recognize that time is the currency. Money is not as important as their time because they can always go make more money. We can go make more money, but we can't get more time. So it's important that if we're going to communicate with somebody and take their time and attention, we better be very specific, direct, and getting straight to the point because we don't want to waste their time. Here's what effective communication looks like. If a client says they want to sell their home, the process in its macro form looks like this. Seller wants to sell their home. We show up and show them exactly what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, and how much it's going to cost, and how long is it going to take. And then 30, 45 days later, we show them a bag of money. That's the macro version. Everything in between is not their concern. Everything in between is what we take off their plate. They're running businesses. They're doing so many other things. The last thing we want them to worry about is what's happening with their home. So we're giving them updates every single week as to what's happening with their home so that overall they know what's happening, and it's very micro, very quick, very efficient. They know what's happening with their home, but they're not necessarily concerned about it because they know that they've taken this off their plate, they put it on our plate, and we're taking care of it for them. That's the macro version of it. And here's what it looked like on a micro level. Every single week from the time we get that listing, our admin's gonna call that client. We're gonna call that client and say, hey, just wanted to give you a quick update. My name is so-and-so here, and I'm a part of the Sam Coleman Luxury Group. Just wanna give you a brief overview of what you should expect this week. Here's the showings that we have lined up. Here's the marketing plan that we have lined up. We're still projected to this. Right now, this is the most recent sale. This is the most recent clothing. This is the average price per square foot. Just wanna give you that information, whether it's a phone call or an email or a text message. We ask the client what's their preferred method of contact, and we utilize that to communicate. Then as the time goes on, now we're gonna schedule photos. We're making sure the house is clean, if it needs to be staged, all those things. And we're literally gonna message them or call them or text them, whatever they prefer to communicate. We're gonna let them get ready for the photos. After the photos, then the next step, hey, your listing will go live on this date. This is how it's gonna appear. Is there anything that you would like to see that we haven't covered in this particular listing? So that way we know we're doing it one time. We need to know exactly what's happening. They need to understand that we're on top of it and we're doing it one time to be efficient and specific to their home. Then after the home starts getting shown, we want to give them consistent feedback collectively. So not after every single showing, but one time a week, we're going to update them. Here's what's happened over the last 7 days. Here's the feedback. We need to make adjustments, or here's where we're going. Here's the shift that we need to make, or here's the offer. How do you want to proceed? This is what we recommend, etc., etc., etc. From there, now we have an offer on the home. Now that we have an offer on a home, everybody's excited. Can we get the deal closed? We're working with the other agent. We're letting them know what to expect. We're letting them know the timelines. And we always like to under promise and over deliver. So we add in additional time. We want to make sure that if we are efficient and we are able to over deliver, that's something that can happen, and it can adhere to their timeline, which works best for them. So we like to ask our client, are you looking to get a quick close? Do you need time to stay in the property afterwards? Do you have another property that we're going to sell you that you're going to, et cetera, so that as we're negotiating, we know what we're doing for our client. And lastly, most important of all, be solution-based. If there is an issue, we have to be solution-based. Don't ever just come to the client with a problem. Don't come with a problem and it's by itself. Things may happen, but you have to come with a solution as well. So for example, we had a situation where a client wanted to, the buyers of one of our listings wanted to cancel. They wanted to cancel because there was something dramatic that happened in our family. It was personal and they could not proceed. So this particular house, we listed higher than the comps in the area. I broke the record in the community. We had sold the house to just over 1.4. And then now I listed another house, this particular house, for 1,599. This was the highest price per square foot in the area. It was also the highest listing in the area at that time. And when I listed it, I knew that we would probably land somewhere in a specific range. I always give a range, so I want to under promise and over deliver. So when I gave them the range, it was a probability that it could fall lower to the 1.5 side, but also somewhere closer to where they wanted to land in that 1.6 mark, so that 1.599. Well, we get an offer the first week. The offer was very competitive. They were very happy with that offer, but then something happened in the buyer's family. I was then representing both buyer and seller, so I was doubling in the deal. So you can imagine, I was super excited about representing the buyer and seller on a $1.6 million house. Now that this thing happened, I had to go to the seller and say, hey, this deal is now canceling. With that, I also brought another buyer, other prospective buyers, and also a timeline to recoup the time that we lost off market for, I think it was 6 or 7 days. When I brought that problem, I started off with, hey, here's the thing. The buyer is canceling, but here's what we're doing about it. This is not our buyer based on whatever the facts were and whatever the things that happened. I understand that time is the most important for you. And then that client came back to me and said, hey, I would rather sell for a lower price than waste more time on the market. And I said, I completely understand. I empathize with you. And I'm gonna repeat and approve as I'm validating their pain. They were frustrated and they were in another state. This was a second home for them. So now I have to really dial in my efforts to make sure I bring a solution. We brought another buyer. Now I'm not representing both buyer and seller. We found an agent in the area that specialized in exactly what we did, the type of listing that we had. They brought a buyer. Now we had that buyer we negotiated with that buyer to leave some type of money in earnest money should they cancel within the time frame to cover our butts from the last buyer that canceled. That made the seller feel at ease. So there was a problem, we brought a solution. You have to bring a solution at least to keep them at ease, because they don't want to worry about their home or anything while they're out running another business. And at this time, this particular client was launching, he was exiting a business and then starting another business. The last thing he wanted to do was worry about what was happening with an escrow. And in his mind, $50,000, he would rather sell the house for $50,000 less just to know that the deal got done. And that's just how they think. The money is not as important as the time. So if you're getting into this luxury real estate business and you want to retain your clients, this is what you have to do. These are 3 easy things that you can do. Well, simple things. They're not easy, they're simple. If you want to know more about how to simplify and retain luxury affluent clients, go to TheSamColeman.com. And as always, add me on social media at TheSamColeman. I'll see you in the next one.